Hey everybody, how you doing? Mr. Bookman here, and today I'm going to be reading Coffee Rabbit, Snowdrop, and Lost, illustrated by Margrethe Kjaergaard. Please enjoy. And Betina Birkjaer. My grandfather's name is Kai, and my grandmother's name is Gur. I go see them a lot. My grandpa had 123 different flowers in his sunroom, and he knew the name of each by heart. In Latin, he calls me Stump. Grandpa loves the smell of coffee, and Grandma loves crossword puzzles. An 8-letter word for the first sign of spring, starting with S, reads Grandma. Glad, Lantis, Nibbles, answered Grandpa, while Grandma whispers Snowdrop in my ear. Then I write Snowdrop with nice round letters. Well now, Stump, isn't it about time you learned to drink coffee? Said Grandpa. I take a sip of my juice and answer with a burp. Just a little one. Grandpa gives me a wink. When Grandpa and I do jigsaw puzzles, we piece together the edge first, all four sides. Then we fill in pictures. We really like doing the one that had 100 pieces. It's a picture of a white rabbit in snow. Grandpa says that when I get a little older, I can have a rabbit, a little one. He had a little one when he was a kid too, and it was called Stump. Grandpa says with a wink. That's the best name for little ones with long ears. One day, Grandma reads a 4-letter word from a fragrant flower with thorns. I already have the pencil in my hand ready to write rose, but I wait for Grandpa to say the word in Latin. Only this time, Grandpa didn't find a word. Instead, he laughs and says, soon I won't be able to remember my name neither. I'm sure it won't come to that, Grandma says, straightening her glasses. I'm the only one who noticed that Grandpa has lost something. Autumn arrives, and as the trees lose more and more of their leaves, Grandpa loses more and more of his words. I collect all of Grandma's lost words in a box. It keeps me busy from morning to night. One morning, Grandma forgets the coffee cups. Their grandpa forgets the coffee cups. He sits the table with wine glasses instead, the ones that Grandma and Grandpa got as a wedding gift. We don't drink coffee from those, says Grandma. She reaches for one, but it tips over and rolls off the table. For Pete's sakes, explains Grandma. Who is Pete? Asks Grandpa, looking at me. But I don't know who Pete is either. Grandma cuts her Grandpa cuts himself when he tries to brush away the shards of glass from his bare feet. Have you gone completely nuts? Said Grandma. I have to get the bandage that Grandpa once brought to me. When winter arrives, Grandpa seems to have lost all interest in doing anything. He just sits and stares out the window. Grandma thinks he's boring. She is looking for a 5-letter word with flower that starts with T. Can you get the rabbit for me? Grandpa asked one day. I could take that big jigsaw puzzle with the rabbit, but Grandpa can't make sense of the 1,000 pieces. Actually, he pushes them into the box. Grandma gets upset at the mess and goes to bed without saying goodnight to Grandpa, even though she had promised him she would never do that. While I clean up, Grandpa falls asleep on the couch. I pull the big blanket over him and take the little one for me. I woke up in the middle of the night. I'm freezing and all alone. I called for Grandpa, but only the cold answered me. A draft is coming from the sunroom where the window is open. I woke up Grandpa. The 123 flowers look like they haven't been tended for a long time. Why didn't I notice this? Grandma whispered, mostly to herself. At first, we could see Grandpa's footprints in the snow, but before long, the wind blows them away. All the same, we could follow the words, he's lost in the snow. Grandma can see them now, too. I spot Grandpa. He's sitting on a bench without a jacket, wearing only slippers on his bare feet. He mumbles something about not being able to find a rabbit. Grandma strokes his cheeks. Who are you? Grandpa asked, looking at me. It's me, Stump, I replied. Oh, I'm looking at my rabbit. He's lost. He sighs, blinking. When we get home, Grandma makes coffee and kisses Grandpa on the forehead. At first, Grandpa doesn't want the coffee, so Grandma holds the cup with its spicy cup scent to his nose. Then he wants to drink it. But mostly, Grandpa doesn't want to do anything anymore. He still likes to smell the flowers, but it's Grandma who takes care of them now, all 123 of them. Even though she doesn't know their names in Latin, my box of words is completely full. Yeah, let's have a party for Grandpa, I say to Grandma one day. What kind of party? She asked. That kind of party, I say, pointing at all the wedding pictures. Just the three of us, asked Grandma. The three of us and a surprise, I replied. A surprise, she smiled. Just a little one, I say with a wink. I set the table with the nice glasses, and Grandpa decorates it with flowers. We have soup, a roast, and ice cream. Grandma takes out her wedding dress, and we put on some music. Grandpa hums along. We dance until we can't dance anymore. I just have to get something, I say. I take out the box with the surprise. Well, well, what a lovely little one, said Grandpa happily, lifting the rabbit out of the box. It curls up in his lap, and it seems to be but it likes being scratched between the long ears. We can call it Stump, I say. Grandma nods and says, that's the best name for this little things with long ears. Grandpa smiles happily. From that day on, my nickname is no longer Stump, but I still have the box of Grandpa's words. It will always remind me of how he, my grandpa, used to be. Well, wasn't that a cute story? Poor guy was forgetting everything. That happens when you get old. Have you ever forgotten something? Let me know in the comment box if you have forgotten anything before. Just curious. Well, everybody, if you enjoyed this book reading, can you give it a thumbs up and share it? And if you're new and came along this reading, hit that red subscribe button down below and subscribe to my channel and check out my other readings. But until next time, they call me Mr. Bookman, and this book reading is over. Have a good one, everybody, and take care.